the fastest way to get out of a bad financial situation is to stop spending money on buying comfort of whatever kind that you're addicted to or whatever kind you use to escape your problems. And when I say comfort, I mean whatever you use in the moment to numb the pain of whatever you are running away from. And that for me, that was food and going out, buying food, going out to dinner, going out and buying, Zins or nicotine pouches or other brands or whatever it was, or going out to hookah bars or anything else, or going out to shows all the time. Those things all have a place, but more often than not, they can become something that is a way to seek comfort and escape the pain or the stress that you feel is coming into your life that you don't want to deal with. And for the vast majority of people, that is what drains their finances. It's what gets them into debt, and it's what keeps them at the same level for a very, very long period of time. Some people never escape it. Some people constantly live paycheck to paycheck because they can't hold themselves down when it comes to not giving into the need for comfort. And the longer you do that, the more you spiral and you keep doing it, and it becomes easier and easier because it becomes a habit. So it's very important to not keep buying comfort, because if you can stop yourself from doing that, the immediate impact is that you will save more of your money. You will have more money to put into debt, especially credit card debt that keeps stacking and stacking and getting way out of control. You will have more money to put into investments, into paying off student loans, into paying off maybe your car, whatever it is, right? If you have a mortgage, you could put more of that money into the equity of your house and paying down the principal, and then you could get out of that mortgage faster. Any number of things, literally any number of things. You could invest that money. I'm not sure if I said that, but you could basically save it, invest it, do so many other things with it. And when I say that you should stop buying comfort, I don't mean completely cutting everything out of your life. It doesn't mean that you never go out to eat, you never see your friends or family, you never enjoy yourself, because if you do that, you're just going to wire yourself with so much pain that you'll never feel happy, and then you won't understand the point of anything that you're doing, and you'll become resentful and bitter and jaded. And that's not good either, because then it kind of acts like a spring. Like the more you push against it, the further out it's going to go. So you don't want to do that. You want to bring a balance of some kind into your life. And initially, you will have to pull yourself back quite a bit. And I think initially it is important to put a pretty strong limit on yourself and try to hit that limit, try to follow that. So if you go out 3 or 4 times a week, you could say, okay, I'm going to cut this down to once. I'm going to go out once a week on a certain day, or only on weekdays or whatever. And that's going to be my outing for the week. And outside of that, the money that I would have spent is going to go into savings. It's going to go into a different account. It's going to go into investments or into credit cards, whatever. And as you develop that habit and that skill, you can keep reducing the amount of time you go out. You can keep reducing the amount of times you seek comfort. And as a second order effect, the less you do that, the more time you'll have for yourself. And if you have more time for yourself, you can look inward and figure out, what is it that triggers the need for me to go out and buy stuff? What is it that triggers the need for me to want to go out and eat all the time? Because the thing with eating is, yeah, it's great to go out and eat, but eating also releases dopamine. When you eating feels good. Your body wants to be nourished. It wants sustenance. So obviously eating feels good and you feel safe when you're eating, but it becomes a crutch. It becomes an addiction for a lot of people, like it did for me. So when the discomfort comes, you have to understand what triggers the discomfort, and you have to understand that what the mechanism is that makes you want to go out and eat food, or go out for drinks, or go out and do whatever that causes you to spend money. And you have to give yourself enough time to process that and figure out a solution so that you can address the disease that's triggering that discomfort. Because if you just treat the symptoms, which is, I go out to eat, now I'm not going out to eat, but then you don't use that time and energy to address the actual issue, you're never actually going to solve the problem. So you have to look inward, use the time that you have, you're not going to use the money for that, but you save the money, use the time that you get back, and you look inward and try to figure out, what is it that triggers me to want to go do these things? Am I afraid of something happening at work? Is there some family stuff? Is there someone in my family? Is there someone in my friends? Just what is it that triggers me to do this? What makes me feel the type of way that makes me want to go and eat out or spend money or whatever it is to feel better? And another thing with not buying comfort and how it impacts debt and credit cards and whatever else and your overall financial well-being is if you're not spending that money, then your debt will stop going up, right? Literally, like the money has to go somewhere. And if you hold on to the money, if you hold on to more of it, right, or you put it in other places where it can pay you back in the long run, then you immediately cut your spending down. So you kind of can take a you take a two-pronged approach to paying down debt if you have a lot of debt. Because obviously, if you have debt and you keep spending money, you're just going to stay in debt forever. If you have debt and you start saving that money and you stop spending it, the first step to getting out of debt is to stop spending the money. And if you don't ever do that, then you're never going to get out of debt. And if you pay all your debt off, but you don't fix those habits, then you're going to have a couple months maybe where things are good and you'll find yourself in debt again. So it's this habit that you have to break, but you can't just break the habit in a vacuum. You have to understand what triggers the habit, why you feel the way that you feel. Is there someone triggering it? Is there some event? Is there something else? And when you realize that, you have to make a decision on how to change it. A lot of times the change needs to be made. Sometimes it's a little difficult because it could be a family member that is hard to deal with or hard to get along with. It could be something at work. It could be any number of things. But if you never analyze it and think through it, you'll never get to a point where you can actually figure out what it is that you need to do to address this issue. And once you do figure it out, then you know, all right, something has to change here, and you can workshop and figure out a way to make that change. So the way to stop buying comfort and to stop escaping your problems, first and foremost, I think for most people, is to the way to address your problems and to come up better on the other side and develop habits that help you fix your life and give you the time back to fix your life is to stop buying comfort. You know, understand when you're doing it and understand what causes it. But the most important thing is to stop buying comfort, because comfort of that kind, mental comfort, is short-lived. And you grow not when things are easy, but when things are hard. And if you voluntarily put yourself through hard stuff, then you will grow that much faster and you'll start to understand the power that you have, and you'll start to build confidence, and then it'll become easier and easier. And it's like a snowball effect and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So stop buying comfort. Figure out what your comfort is. For different people, it's different things. It's not necessarily the examples that I used, but everybody has something, or most people have something that they use to numb the pain and escape the stress of their life. So figure out what it is, and if it's something that's burning a hole in your bank account, then work on stopping it little by little. Work on putting that money somewhere else, and eventually you'll get to a point where you're able to address the trigger that causes the discomfort. And as you address that, you won't even need to think twice about spending or trying to numb out the pain and seek comfort. You won't even feel the need to go and blow your money or be irresponsible and escape from anything in your life.